Let's face it, nobody likes Meet Your Match. Even if you started playing TF2 only after Meet Your Match, like I did, you will have at least been told, or at least heard, how bad Meet Your Match was. Because, as we know, it changed Quick Play into what was called Casual, which was a major mess when it was first added. But none of that I'm gonna really focus on too much because I think it's already been said a lot by some other YouTubers like Squib Jim, so that's not the focus for this video. And though Casual started off really rough, I think now it's in a much better state. I mean, all the big issues that it had on launch are pretty much dealt with, like the disconnect cooldown, all that. But even now, there's still some major issues that are still present in Casual. This meaning games can be relatively unbalanced, map queues can be pretty long, the whole bot situation, which might still be a thing, and even the auto balance as well, if you count that as a bad thing. And it's because of such issues that Casual still has that people look for various alternatives that they want to play. And there have been a few, but none of them really catch on too much. So some of these vanilla TF2 servers are, well, there used to be Skyle vanilla servers, or at least casual, that's what they were called, which basically were like the old quick play experience in TF2, and there were 3 of them, but for some reason they got removed. I'm not sure why. Though they do have the 24/7 2-fort servers, which you can count as vanilla TF2 if you want, but it doesn't have the map rotation, so I wouldn't say fully vanilla. And then you also have Uncle Topia, which is also kind of like vanilla, although that's a bit more competitive focused in my experience, since there's the class limits, there's no crits, no bullet spread, and generally there's more higher skill players, which, you know, we don't necessarily want to play with those types of players in TF2. We just want a chill experience, and well, casual is pretty much the chill experience. And I guess another chill experience is a third option for vanilla TF2 community servers, which is called Castaway, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. So let's bring up the question: is Castaway the best TF2 experience? Well, spoiler alert, nearly. Just nearly, because it has some drawbacks, which we'll get to, but let's just talk about the history of this thing. Well, if you call it that. So, first of all, Castaway is a small community for TF2. It was created really recently in June 2024 by a man named Gabber, who you may not know who he is, but that's fine. And but other than the fact that he created Castaway, and it'll say in the Steam group a pretty simple goal. The goal of Castaway is simple: servers where you can play TF2 in its prime. That means random crits, sprays, no class limits, no moderation on player communication. This should be as close as possible to the vision of the game as seen by the original developers. Our servers feature weapon reversion plugin, which puts weapons back in the state whenever they were most fun. So that's pretty simple, really. It's the old TF2 servers, or at least the old quick play experience, but it's taking it a step further by also doing some weapon reverts, which is pretty interesting. I've not seen any other weapons that do this, besides maybe Grouch, but no one likes Grouch's weapon changes. They sucked. So, right off the bat, there are some very good things about Castaway. It's basically the old quick play experience, as I said, so meaning it's a time-based map rotation, so every 45 minutes the map will change. Sprays are enabled if you really want those. And you have the weapon reverts, meaning some weapons are back in their old state, like the Sandman, for example, can stun again after before Jungle Inferno, where for some reason Valve decided to remove it because I don't know why, but they did that. And the Enforcer does 20% damage all the time, so not just when you disguise. And Same thing for lock and load. It's not just against buildings. So it has some. So there are some good parts about Castaway already that we identify. Of course, we should obviously mention that this is still a relatively small community since it's kind of new. Meaning there's only 1,100 members in Castaway right now as of me making this video. And even Gabber himself is only 3,000 subs, so he's relatively small for a TFTuber. Okay, I'm obviously much smaller, but you know that other YouTubers like Markiplier have like 40 to 50 million, so yeah, relatively small compared to the big boys, if you know who I'm talking about. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. Maybe you might prefer smaller communities, but I usually just prefer, being able to see more people, not just the same familiar faces all the time. Which, it can be a bit repetitive seeing the same guy. But, you may be fine with that. I'm personally not entirely up for that. And though there are some very high highs about Castaway, at the same time there are some very low lows. And trust me, they are really low. And I'll start with probably the biggest one for me is that Castaway doesn't follow the same like 24/7 idea as other servers like Ska or even Casual for that matter, if you consider that. Instead, Castaway follows kind of a daily time schedule for the different servers they have. So, meaning, for example, for North American servers, the only time that they become active is about 5 p.m. Pacific time, which is not bad for me, but depending on where you live, this can obviously be a major issue. And that's what I think is the biggest downside for Castaway. It's just not 24/7. Of course, you could say part of that's just because it's a small community, but I kind of doubt that. I doubt that being a thing. And this second issue might be my own taste, but I personally think I find more bigotry in Castaway than I do even Casual. Now, it could also be because of the smaller player base Castaway has, but I see more people who just say a bunch of slurs, and that is not a good sign. So yeah, if you're going around saying slurs in TF2, I don't even think you'd even deserve to be a TF2 player. So there's no place for racism in this world, okay? I make my point clear on that. And I guess even Gabber himself isn't totally innocent of this, but that's more of a personal thing. He's not a terrible TF2ber by any means, I'll give him that. Because he made some good points for videos like his one called Nerf Sniper Cause I'm Bad, and well, he made points proving Sniper isn't OP, because, you just had to stay out of his sight. But, if you need more proof, just watch his video. I don't need to explain it, but I find a lot of his videos kind of exaggerate on Casual's problems, like claims the bots are still often. But those videos were probably still before summer 2024, so I'm not going to blame him too much. But also, even before summer 2023, I haven't necessarily met as many bots in Casual. Of course, it could just be that Gabber lives in Europe and I live in the US, so US servers might probably were affected less severely by the bot situation than EU servers, which I can understand if that really is the case, but most of his videos is just him trying to convince you to play Castaway, even though he kinda acts like a big fool. But I'm not hitting on him too much. He made the server and all that. I'm not being mad at him about it. And while the weapon reverts aren't necessarily all bad, at the same time I feel like some weapons probably deserve to be nerfed. Like, the Sandman's stun ability, yeah, people thought that was super annoying, and especially when you look at the very old Sandman, like the original Sandman, it did not just stun, it fully stunned you, like you could not move at all. Like, could you imagine if that still existed in 2025? Oh my god. That would just be another reason I even play Scout, because I can just stun people all the time. I would honestly feel bad doing that, to be honest, but, you know, Valve had the reason to nerf it to the slowdown because, you know, they don't want people being just straight up mad about the Sandman stunning. But I feel like the nerf also was just too harsh. So, yeah, you get my point. Some weapons kind of should have been nerfed. I would agree with that. Because, yeah, if you hate a weapon that in its old state, then yeah, point proven on that. I mean, and even some weapons in their current state can be kind of annoying, like maybe the Scorch Shot if you really hate the Scorch Shot, though I personally do not. So, yeah, some weapon states were very annoying, and yeah, we're not gonna get too extent on that one. It's better to just look at some of the weapon reverts itself, and then just see what ones you find annoying. So let me know in the comments, what weapon reverts did you hate the most? I'd be glad to hear your opinions about this. And even the sprays can also be a bit of a Maul's lightsaber, or double-bladed sword. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying, but you get the point. Though I should say this down, say it's not exclusive to Castaway, but since Castaway does enable sprays, I'll still talk about it. Because sure, it's nice to have the sprays, but at the same time, there's obviously going to be people who will spray the most abhorrent stuff. Oh my god, like, there's going to be people who spray, like, freaky pics of Inklings. I mean, who plays TF2 just to find pics of those? That's not what I do. I play TF2 to play TF2. Okay? Okay, I'm not gonna get my eyes burned by, you know, I'm not gonna be too graphic about this. I need to keep my channel as PG-13 as I can. Okay, maybe I didn't succeed in that, but fuck it, I don't care. I don't give a shit about what happens, YouTube. I don't care what you throw at me, YouTube. I'm not afraid of you. But despite all those drawbacks, I still think Castaway is a pretty good way to play TF2. Again, the time schedules and the bigotry might be pretty big drawbacks for you, but, you know, I still think you can find a way to enjoy it. I mean, even the bigotry is not that common, but, you know, we all prefer no bigotry, let's put it that way. So, yeah, I'd recommend you try out Castaway. You know, it's a pretty fun experience. Like, mainly if you just want to know what old TF2 looked like, you know, before Meet Your Match. And, you know, even if you're just gonna play it once, it's still a pretty fun time. Since, you know, you'll see some reasons why people claim TF2 before you Meet Your Match was better. Of course, there's obviously some drawbacks to it before Meet Your Match, but you know, I'm not going to start a whole war about that, and there's a whole video I can link called The Quick Play or Matchmaking Myth that Squim Jim made. You know, link for that will be in the pinned comment along with everything else, really, that you'll need. So, yeah, Castaway, fairly good. I mean, is it going to replace casual? Not really, but, you know, I still think it's fun, you know. So, yeah, it's yeah, pretty good. Go try it. And Gabber, you did good. You made something great for us. You did what Valve didn't. And, well, I'm not gonna really complain. So, you know, Castaway, good, but we just can't replace casual, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say in this video. So, decide for yourself, is it worth trying Castaway, and would you even play it over casual? I personally wouldn't, because I'm doing story mode challenge, of course. But yeah, just let me know in the comments what you think about Castaway. And yeah, thank you for watching.